Hello everyone, I'm Dan Philgreen, and this is Shell Point Today for the weekend of July 18, 19, and 20. On today's show, we'll hear from one of the best docs in the joint, Dr. David Eichten from Joint Implant Surgeons of Florida, on the subject of hip fractures. And we'll be replaying some of the week's best stories from Shell Point TV. But first, we want to remind you about some things that are going on this weekend. Saturday, backed by popular demand, we are making a shopping trip to the unique and fun food destination of Trader Joe's. The staff at Trader Joe's dons Hawaiian shirts, creating a relaxed island feel for the environment. But their commitment to fair trade, good prices, and healthy eating is something they take most seriously. Due to the length of the drive back to Shell Point and the lack of refrigeration, it's not recommended that residents purchase frozen or perishable items on this excursion. Purchases are limited to what you can carry all at once, but you are sure to find some unique items you will really like. My wife and I love shopping there. Cost for transportation is $8. Island pickup is at $12.30, Woodlands $12.40, and Eagles Preserve at $12.50. The return will be at approximately 5 p.m. So come along and experience Trader Joe's. If your taste runs toward popcorn and soda, then you might want to take in the Sunday matinee. The feature is the 1951 film A Place in the Sun with Montgomery Clift and Elizabeth Taylor. This film won 6 Oscars. It plays Sunday afternoon at 2:30 in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. Another great time will be had on Monday at 7:15. It's the Sunset by the Pool celebration at the LifeQuest Aquatic Center. There will be hors d'oeuvres, twinkling lights, and live music by singer Jennifer Gilmore. This is sure to be a great social gathering, so come enjoy it with your friends. Now, while many of you will be enjoying a relaxing weekend, our paint crew will be hard at work. If you use any of the facilities in the tunnel, you may be aware that last weekend they were painting the walls, doors, and pillars down there. Please be aware that this weekend, starting Friday, July 18th, and continuing through Sunday, the floors will be painted. This project will close down access to the tunnel, but you will still be able to get to some of the rooms. The Island Health Club and the east door of the wood shop will be accessible from the east side of the tunnel only. The pottery studio, the computer lab, the computer center, and the stained glass room will have access from the back stairs only. The stairs are located behind finance. The train room, art studio, UPS room, and tarpon room will all be closed. Again, these closures in the Island Tunnel are for this weekend, Friday through Sunday, while the floors are being painted. Okay, clean, clear floors are important in avoiding falls, but accidents and broken bones do happen. When they do, we are very fortunate to have some wonderful doctors in this area. One of the best docs in the joint is Dr. David Eichten from Joint Implant Surgeons of Florida. Now, I happen to love these guys. They installed a new hip joint for me a few years ago, and every part of the process was a positive experience. I'm glad to say it's working just great. Dr. Eichten is here today to tell us all about hip fractures.
I'm Mary Franklin with a Health Connection program that's going to be coming on Friday, July 25th at 10:30 a.m. in the Oak Room. It will be presented by Dr. Eichten, and he's going to cover what you need to know about hip fractures. Thanks for being here, Doctor.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you come out to Shell Point every Friday at the Arbor Medical Center.
Correct.
And you also work with the Joint Implant Surgeons of Florida. You've been here for a while, you're getting to be a regular here at Shell Point. Yes. Our residents know you. And this time you're really going to focus on hip issues and hip fractures. And we know in the United States that every 15 minutes there's a fall. And I bet a lot of those end up being hip issues. Is that a pretty accurate statement?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. We see a lot of wrist fractures, hip fractures, and I think everybody knows somebody that's had a fall or had a hip fracture, had surgery. There's a lot of different things that we look at when we see x-rays, and that changes the way we treat hip fractures.
Okay.
And
so are there different options?
A lot of different options.
Okay.
Sometimes you get to walk after, sometimes you can't walk after, and that depends on where the fracture is and what implant you use to fix it.
Okay.
So, and a lot of that too, that we like to get into the prevention, because we know it slows people down.
Right.
If we can prevent more hip fractures, that's beneficial to everybody.
Putting you on the spot here, but what's the number one prevention?
I think patients checking their surroundings and their balance,
Right.
and stuff at home that you can trip on.
Right.
Some of the simple things that you wouldn't think about may be the most beneficial.
Right.
The other big thing that you hear a lot about, is osteoporosis, and we do have a lot of medications that can prevent your bone from getting thin as we age,
Okay.
and can actually prevent fractures.
Okay. So you're going to cover in this in this presentation all the different types of fractures, kind of go through that, and then some of the options that you have, and also things to help
Yeah, so
prevent you from even having to worry about it.
And I'll show you x-rays and then the different treatment options.
Okay.
Once you see the fracture patterns, it makes sense how you treat them. But we have patients too that are up walking within a month and doing great, whereas some people it may take 3 months for the fracture to heal.
Okay.
So once you understand that, then you kind of know a little bit more and you can be a little bit more educated.
Okay.
And then the other part of it is try to prevent them.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is what you do ahead of time to prevent it, and then how strong you are going into that surgery
Right.
is how your recovery will be. Okay. All right. Well, we're looking forward to your presentation. Again, it will take place on Friday, July 25th in the Oak Room at 10:30 a.m. You can call or stop by either service desk to sign up. Dr. Eichten always draws a crowd, so don't forget to sign up. I'm Mary Franklin with the Health Connection. Make it a happy and healthy day.
Coming up, we are replaying some of the week's best stories from ShellPoint TV. But before we do that, let's cover all of the weekend's happenings, Academy news, menus, and church news.
Welcome to the weekend edition of the Happenings segment of ShellPoint TV. I'm Bev Chandley, and I'm here with Mary Franklin. We're going to tell you what's going on for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday starts out with the 8:30 marketplace in the administration courtyard on the island. It goes from 8:30 to 11:30. At 9 o'clock, we have the round robin doubles tennis at the Woodlands tennis courts. Canasta will be played in the game room of the Woodlands at 10. At 10:15, the Inquiring Minds group will be in the social center. The Model Yacht Sailing Club will be in the Woodlands Commons Lake at 10:15. We're going to jump to the afternoon activities. At 12:30, we start with Mixed Progressive Bridge. That's in the game room of the Woodlands. At 1:15, you'll find all those quilters in the Osprey room doing their fine needlework. At 1:30, Vespers will be in the community room of the Arbor. At 2 o'clock, we have Bid Euchre. That is played in the Sable room of the Woodlands. We have a Vespers in the community room of King's Crown at 2:30. And our last and final Vespers of the day is at the Springs, and that is at 3:30. Then we jump all the way to 6:45 for a game night in the Resident Activity Center. So head on down there to the Resident Activity Center for some good fun. Now here's Mary with your Saturday lineup.
There's no better way to start Saturday than with a game of pickleball being played at 8 a.m. outside the Resident Activity Center. How about some tennis? Round robin doubles tennis starts at 8 a.m. as well. And at 9:30, the men's and women's doubles will take to the tennis courts. 9:45, duplicate bridge will be played in the Manatee Room. And if you're signed up to head to Trader Joe's, fabulous food and more, you'll want to be ready on the island at 12:30, Woodlands 12:40, and Eagles Preserve 12:50. Chess will be played in the Library Lounge at 1 p.m. and Scrabble at 1:15, also in the Library Lounge. Do a little line dancing, basic line dancing in the Health Club on the island at 3:15. And the last program for Saturday night is duplicate bridge, 6:30 in the Manatee Room. And Bev, what happens on Sunday?
Mary, we're going to start with our morning worship services in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. The first one is at 9 and the second is at 11. We go all the way to 6:15 for the evening service, which will be at the Social Center. Well, that wraps up our weekend lineup for your activities. We hope you make it a great weekend.
Hello, I'm Terry Coleth with your Academy information for Friday and the weekend. At 9:15 on Friday, Adobe Photoshop Elements continues in the Computer Teaching Center on the island. I'd like to tell you about some classes coming next week. We have part 2 of 3 sessions of The Grandeur of British Painting with Dottie Megan on Monday. And on Tuesday, Professor Adrian Kerr presents the 4th session of 5 sessions on the story of China. On Wednesday, a legacy seminar beneficiary war stories.
Menus for your weekend. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter on Friday is fried haddock with steak-cut fries and braised cabbage. The dinner special is the seafood buffet for $15.95, and the soup of the day is Manhattan clam chowder. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Friday, the special is a fish sandwich with coleslaw and fries for $7.25. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Friday are lamb chops for $22.95 or sole manure for $15.95. On Saturday, the Crystal Room is closed. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Saturday, the special is a bacon, turkey, and Swiss cheese panini with fresh fruit for $7.25. The dinner special is pork marsala with baked potatoes and green beans for $8.25. The dinner special in the Palm Grill on Saturday is prime rib for $19.95. On Sunday, the Crystal Room features its Sunday brunch for $17.50. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Sunday, the special is a Western bacon cheeseburger with fries for $7.25. And the dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.25. And the Palm Grill is closed on Sundays. Menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Another weekend is here, and I'm here with Pastor Andy Hawkins as we look forward to Sunday and the services before us. Andy, thinking about Sunday morning, we're in the Grand Cypress Room right now, 2 identical services, 9 and 11 a.m., and you are still working through the book of Hebrews. We've been there for a while now, and I think we're beginning to understand what Hebrews is trying to tell us in a much better light. Where are we going to be this Sunday?
That's a great question, and some people are wondering. I spend a lot of time in one book, but as you unfold and unpack a book like Hebrews, there is such a richness in it that we're discovering things about God and about Christ that simply are overwhelming, I think, as you consider the implications of the truths that we're discovering. Hebrews chapter 4, verses 12 and 13 is really has as its main topic the Word of God. And of course, we understand who Jesus is because of the Word of God. But the Word of God has its own power, and it's significant in the lives of believers in Jesus. And so that's that passage of Scripture that talks about it as being more powerful than any two-edged sword. And I find it one of the most exciting verses of Scripture about the Scriptures that I can ever imagine. And so we'll sort of take a little bit of a vacation, not a lot of a vacation, from talking about Jesus to talking about the Word of God on which we're dependent for knowing who Jesus is.
And then Sunday night, 6:15, we're in the Social Center right now, and you've been unfolding a fairly new series to us on Sunday nights.
That's correct. We're calling it Do You Love Me? There's a verse in 1 Peter chapter 1 which talks about though you do not see him, you love him. That's the fundamental disposition of all genuine Christians. It's not so much that we believe a set of doctrines, but that we have a genuine affection for Jesus Christ. We love him. And if you don't love Jesus, you're not a Christian. I think that's the essence of what the Peter passage is telling us. Well, this particular week we've been unfolding not only that verse, but other verses in the New Testament that talk about loving Christ. And the passages that we'll be dealing with on this Sunday evening really have to do with developing a lifestyle of love.
Sounds like this will be rather practical.
I hope so.
For all of us. That's great. So we invite you to join us this Sunday morning at the Grand Cypress Room, either 9 or 11 a.m., and we'll have a fellowship time between those services, or Sunday night, 6:15 at the Social Center. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
It's time now to take a look back at some of the best stories from this week on Shell Point TV. We started off the week with a golf tip from our staff golf professional, Gary Keating.
Hi, my name's Gary Keating, the golf professional at Shell Point Golf Club. You notice we're on the driving range today. The driving range is open for everybody. You can come out and use the driving range at your leisure. If you don't think you're a really good golfer, you can fine-tune your skills here. On staff, we have 3 teaching golf professionals. We have a great driving range. Behind me, you'll notice there's a bunker, chipping green. To the other side of the pro shop, we have what we call a putting green, where you can go home and fine-tune your skills on the putting surface. Well, let's talk about this wedge for a second. On my hand, I've got a 60-degree sand wedge. The three leading elements in the sand wedge is basically, this is what we call the leading edge. The bottom is the bounce, okay? And if I flip this club upside down, you'll understand the importance of the bounce. The bounce of the golf club is the most important but the most neglected part of this particular club. So let's look at the bounce for a second. So if I take another club, we're going to lay it underneath the golf club, and you can see that is the bounce. See the little bottom of the golf club is touching the shaft of the other golf club? That is the most important part of this golf club. Okay. By the way, does anybody know who designed the sand wedge? The sand wedge was designed by Gene Saracen, and he designed it by skipping rocks across a pond. So basically his philosophy was, if he could get a sand wedge to skip in the sand and not dig in, basically he would have a perfect sand wedge. So he designed the sand wedge, and then next year he won the Masters, by the way. So the leading edge is this part right here, and the bounce is the bottom. So we actually never want to hit the golf ball with the leading edge. So let me grab a ball for a second, I'll show you. So up here we've got the golf ball, okay? So we never want to let the golf ball or the leading edge touch the golf ball. The club face and the sweet spot basically is up here. So once we get it inside the sweet spot, and let me just point exactly where my thumb is the sweet spot of this particular golf club. It is not the leading edge, okay? So having said that, that's where we want the golf ball to be hit. And as soon as we hit it, this wedge creates a tremendous amount of backspin, so the ball spins back, and that's where we get that golf ball stopping on the greens very quickly. Okay, let's go down and we'll go a little bit further into the wedge. The three things that I see that are negative or bad about wedge players is, number one, is excessive motion. Now when I talk about excessive motion, I'm talking the legs. You've got to understand, as soon as we pick a 60-degree wedge up in our hands, it's not really a power move. What we're basically looking for is to control the arms and to basically control the club head hitting the golf ball. If our legs move, the top of the shaft will move also. And that's when we'll get this club doing this at the bottom, and that's when we start the leading edge exposed. We want to basically stay as quiet as we can with the legs. And when I hit wedges, I always remain flat-footed. So we stay flat-footed and we're just basically swinging the arms. We don't need any hip turn. We don't need any shoulder turn. We're just going to make a nice, slow arm swing. Once again, we've talked the importance of where the butt of the club should be located. It should be located in the center of the belly button, 3 inches off the inside left heel. We do not want to push the handle forward. As soon as you push the handle forward, the leading edge is exposed. As soon as we expose the leading edge, that's when we start getting this ball running across the green low, and it's basically what we call a thin shot in golf. So I'm going to hit some shots for you, and what I want you to notice is how quiet my legs are. You'll see no hip turn. It's more of an arm shot. So when I do the arm shot, I'm basically controlling the speed or the energy that I need to generate to hit the golf ball a certain amount of distance. So let's see how this works for you. So once again, we're going to take a golf ball. We're going to place the golf ball 3 inches off the inside of my left heel. So my left heel is here, okay? Locate the butt of the club in the center of my belly. So we're going to take, and I always make practice swings to basically get the feel of how far or how hard I need to make a swing to generate the golf ball the distance I'm looking for. So you'll see we're going to be nice, and as you can see, butt of the club's located. We're going to pull it back. We're going to push it through. So once again, I'm going to do a good shot and I'll do a bad shot. And I want you to notice the difference in how much leg motion. So let's hit a good shot. We're basically just nice and still. We're going to pull it back. And we've got a perfect wedge shot. Okay? Let's do a bad shot. I want you personally to notice how much I move over the golf ball when I hit it bad. So once again, pay special attention to the legs. And as you can see, that golf ball's getting away from us. It's going to run over the green, maybe into the bunker, maybe in some water. Okay? So once again, to cure these problems, I want you to remain flat-footed, especially with the right foot. Swing the arms, and you should be successful. Once again, at Shell Point, we do have 3 teachers, 3 PGA golf professionals here that can help you with these problems. Please don't hesitate to call us. You can locate us through 2 ways. The Pro Shop phone number is 433-9790, or you can locate us on the web. And you can check us out at shellpointgolf.com. Thank you, and I hope this helps you.
Our Director of Project Development, Bob Southern, invited us to see one of his collections. This one is a set of potato chip tins from a bygone era.
I guess I was born with a collector's gene. It's something that collecting things has been in my blood since I was a little kid. I don't know where it came from, but if there was more than three of something, I wanted to have all 3 of them. Some things interest me because of their history or because of their graphics or their looks, and mainly we're here today to talk about my old potato chip tin collection. Potato chips have been part of my family since growing up in Baltimore, and there were certain varieties up there that everybody was interested in. And I guess like the old soda bottle collection that I have, part of it is just my love of the fact that there were so many small companies around the country making things and making sodas and chips and all kinds of things that were regional. And nowadays you go into every 7-Eleven in the country and there are Lay's potato chips. I like Lay's potato chips, but you miss some of the variety and trying different kinds. And some of these companies are still hanging on, some of them are gone. It's fun to try to do the research and locate the ones that are still around. The decoration of the can, or the drawings on it, or some of the labeling, they can be beautiful pieces of work that somebody did a long time ago. I have found them at antique stores and collectible stores across the country whenever I travel. More recently, I guess like so many, you find them on eBay, and you can find a lot of them categorized, so they're easy to locate. Before, it was just hit or miss whether a store would happen to have one, and whether it was one you didn't have, and whether you could get it home or not. Some of the bigger ones were a little tough to get in the plane. So eBay probably had a lot to do with maybe doubling the size of the collection over the years. When I grew up in Baltimore, in the areas around Baltimore, Mrs. Irie's potato chips was actually made in Baltimore, and that was a big brand there, and had been made in that city for decades. But really, probably the big gun in Baltimore was Utz potato chips. It was actually made in Hanover, Pennsylvania, but it was very regional, several states in and around Pennsylvania, New Jersey, a little bit of New York and Maryland, and they were considered the best, and was actually voted the best in the country at one time back in the 80s, so that was the favorite. Some of them I like because of the graphics and because of the age, and obviously the style will tell you a little bit about the age and the materials and all to help you to date it. But they went to a lot of trouble to create designs and what they put on these things back then. But the Highland Potato Chip Company from Des Moines and Davenport, Iowa, haven't been able to find much out about them. Don't know if they're still around anymore, but obviously you can see a lot of work went into creating that design with the Highland theme. It's pretty neat. The Better Made Special, 2 gentlemen started a potato chip company because they felt like the country needed a better potato chip, and so they developed their chip and they marketed it. Because of the desire to have a better potato chip, Better Made Potato Chips was born. You'll notice several of them here were Mrs. Irie's, Mrs. Drinks, Mrs. Klein's. Apparently Mrs. were big into the potato chip realm back then, 20s and 30s. I think it was Mrs. Klein's actually got into the potato chip business because her husband was seriously injured in a head-on car accident, and she needed to have a way to make a living, so she knew how to do this and started making potato chips. You read the history of some of these things, and you go back in those days, the 20s and 30s, they started in a back room, they had a kettle, they started making a few chips, they could make 50 pounds in a day or something, and they started their business that way and grew and grew and grew, in the same way that the Utz company did up in Hanover. They just have gotten to be a big business, but a lot of them want to stay fairly local, so they don't try and spread the way Lay's and a few others have done. They serve a general region, and you'll see some from the eastern seaboard and some from the Midwest and some from out west, and that's kind of neat, and a lot of them have managed to stay in business after all these decades. I think the oldest one is the Highland. Not entirely certain. Like I said, I've done a little bit of research on the internet. You find some things about some of them. Some of them you find little or nothing. So it's a little hard to tell with some of them. Some of those companies probably came and went maybe 50, 60, 70 years ago. But you know, it's been a long time since you've seen cans like that actually in the store. And there was a point when I was growing up that Utz and a lot of potato chips were coming in these cardboard containers, so they kind of stayed with the same pattern, but they were made out of a flimsier material, and then they'd have a bag inside of this with a little twist tie on it or something. So they were moving from heavy tin to cardboard and then to the packaging that you see nowadays. Back, you know, in those days when packaging and shipping and how you ship things was maybe not as refined as it is nowadays, they had to package a very fragile product in something that would hold up until it got where it needed to go. So, you know, nowadays you see them in these flimsy plastic bags and they get there pretty well. Back then they're in a heavy can that you almost see nothing come in nowadays. So that's kind of an interesting aspect and a little bit of our lost history too, and what it took to get a fragile product over a several state area. I like to look at some of the mottos on them, and you know, a lot of them had plenty of ego. You know, the best taste yet, and these were non-fattening. The starch has been removed. They were very worried about starch back then. A number of them will mention starch. Like homemade, and guaranteed fresh, a pip of a chip. Recognized as the finest since 1899, I believe. So they all had a little theme, a little logo, a little motto that would try to catch your eye. Less starch, less fat. Even back in those days, they were worried about fat. I think probably worried more about starch than we worry about nowadays, but starch has been an issue at times. So they all are trying to carve out a little niche and make their name in the business. So they would try to appeal to people with the design of their can and obviously the product inside.
The new day respite program at the Arbor has gotten off to a great start. Our nurse manager, Stacy Daniels, sat down with Rita Southern to tell us more about it.
Hi, I'm Rita Southern, Director of Assisted Living here at Shell Point. We're so excited to be celebrating the launch of our Adult Day Respite Program at the Arbor. Stacy Daniels Datillo is joining me this morning to talk a little bit about how the program's going and what caregivers can expect of this program. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Talk a little bit, Stacy, about your thoughts on the program. What do you expect from the program?
You know, I am so excited that we have developed this Respite Day program for our residents here at Shell Point. I think that it is going to provide such a wonderful island of respite for those caregivers who are out there who may be experiencing some caregiver stress, some desperate need for some time away to take care of just the basic things like a doctor's appointment or to go to the grocery store or even just to have an afternoon of time to take a nap. I think that it's so important that that as a caregiver that we remember that in order to be a good caregiver that we have to take care of ourselves.
As you obviously a nurse, and your heart is really, I think, in wellness and having people make the best of their life. What are we going to be able to offer caregivers in the way of care for their loved one?
Well, I think the nuts and bolts of our respite program is really that we are going to offer a program designed to give oversight to someone that maybe needs to have someone spending more one-on-one time, We're going to have activities available that is in a structured environment that has a routine, which is incredibly important to those of our residents that maybe have a little bit of memory impairment happening, or maybe have some health issues that are taking place that require just a little bit more oversight. There'll be meals offered as well, so that their loved one who needs that day of respite can feel rest assured that when they drop their spouse off to spend the day with us, that a healthy, nutritious, and really flavorful meal is offered here at the Arbor. Also, that we have our staff that is going to provide patient and good-natured oversight and accompaniment to activities, and having a structured program that will keep that person engaged and can meet their individual needs in a program that's not overwhelming.
I think that's a nice balance. That's an important balance between stimulation, participation, and activity. Yeah, activity and rest.
Got to have a little bit of downtime too.
When we think about folks that are going to be participating in the program, some of them have medical needs, some of them have care needs. How are we equipped to be able to handle those?
Well, we have oversight by our licensed nursing staff here, so that if we have a participant who's coming in who maybe needs to have medication management, administration, if they're experiencing any type of a health issue, there is licensed staff that can step in to provide care as needed.
As you think, Stacy, about those caregivers, share with our audience a little bit of your perspective on what this program can mean to them.
You know, to all of you who are listening out there, I would really encourage you to seriously consider giving yourself the gift of time. Time is such a finite thing. It doesn't go on forever. And if you are experiencing, weight loss, weight gain, insomnia, or sleeping too much, not finding pleasure in the things that you used to find pleasure in because your sole focus and your sole purpose has now become the care of someone else, you can lose your individuality and what makes you a special person. And when you lose that, you really are not as effective in the role of a caregiver as you could be and that you desire to be. And so I just really encourage you to consider, again, giving yourself that gift of time, allowing us to spend a few hours with your loved one. In our very homey environment, we've got a warm and lovely place that you can feel safe and feel good about, having them come spend time with us in, and just come and see and check us out. Let us prove it to you.
So if you're a caregiver and you want to take Stacy up on her offer, call us at the Arbor at 454-2292, and we'll be happy to provide you with more information about our day respite program at the Arbor.
We have a new nurse practitioner at Shell Point, and we had the opportunity to meet her on the show this week. Her name is Kimberly Hogan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Roger Herchak, Vice President of Medical Services here at Shell Point. With me today is Rita Southern, who is our Director of Assisted Living and Resident Support Services, and Kimberly Hogan, who is our new nurse practitioner that has recently started and become part of our medical team here at Shell Point. So welcome to you both. Most of you know Rita because Rita's been with us for many years. As many of you are aware, we're always looking for a more efficient model of providing health care for our residents. And we are now really focusing on an enhancement in the way that we deliver medical care here at Shell Point. Which means when appropriate in your actual home setting. We're looking at a different model of care called a home model that is in the very early stages. With our new nurse practitioner on board, Kim Hogan, we could start with our new model of care. And I think this will be, I know this will be a very exciting thing for our residents and more reflective of what happens in the community setting. Kim, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. I'm originally from Kentucky, and I have been a nurse now for 36 years. Very, very diverse background. Most recently, I came here from Nova Southeastern University. I was a college professor teaching nursing, and before that, I have had over 20 years in the long-term care field as a director of nursing, infection control, and a regional nurse consultant traveling all over the nation. As a nurse practitioner, I'm board certified in adult and geriatric primary care nursing, and I'm very happy to be here.
Wonderful.
Very happy to be here.
We're happy and we're blessed to have you here with us. Kim will be seeing residents actually at the assisted living facilities on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This is the start of bringing home care, home health care to the assisted living facilities to work toward that medical model. Rita, could you tell us how a nurse practitioner making home visits in the assisted living facility will enhance the delivery of health care?
I'm so excited to have Kim be a part of our healthcare team, our assisted living team. As our residents age in place in assisted living, their health becomes sometimes a bit more unpredictable, a little bit more frail. And as we have a resident that is dealing with an incidental ailment, something that comes up, you wake up and you're not feeling good, the last thing you really want to do is get on a transport van and go to the medical center to see a provider. Or maybe you've had a fall the night before and you didn't need to go to the emergency room, but you still need to be seen and have a medical provider see that person.
And Kim, you've already started over the past day or so. So how do you know who to visit? What is a communication? Communication is very key, and we're always trying to make things as seamless as possible, again, for our residents and to make sure that we have all ends taken care of. So how will you know who to see and who is in need of your care?
Right. That will be coming mainly from the nursing staff at each of the assisted living facilities. They know the residents very well, and when they see a change or they see that perhaps they need a little extra attention or something, they can contact me. They can go to the front desk in the medical center and they can schedule time with me. Great. So I'll be checking that several times throughout the day to know exactly where I need to be. Wonderful,
wonderful. And you do make a good point. Rita staff certainly knows better than anyone else the residents that are in need of care. Absolutely. And the sooner they receive that care, the better off they are also. So that's no small issue. Rita, does this eliminate the need for medical center visits?
I don't think it's going to eliminate the need. I think it's probably going to diminish the need for folks to be going back and forth. Residents are going to look to Kim to be that person that's an extension of their physician. And so there'll be a lot of coordination that Kim will have with the medical center. There will continue to be appointments that folks will have at the clinic to see their provider. But to have a nurse practitioner walk in their apartment and talk to them about what their ailment is, what their issue is at that particular moment in time, it will be more immediate care, I think. Residents will have the benefit of seeing Kim a little bit quicker and get on top of some of those ailments, a urinary tract infection, a digestive upset, any of those things that we can kind of curtail right there and treat in the apartment, then Kim will be that go-to person.
Good. And then, Kim, how do you keep once again, the MDs, the primary care physicians, appraised of your findings?
Absolutely. Well, it's all about communication in order to deliver the very, very best care. So everything that I do, everything that whenever I see someone in the assisted living, it'll be documented into the electronic medical record.
Okay.
And then I'll also be collaborating with the physicians about each one of the residents that I see also. So everyone will be on top of the information.
I think the important thing for assisted living residents to know, as well as Shell Point residents to know, is that electronic medical record that Kim and the providers use is the same electronic record that our staff uses. And so when our nursing staff in assisted living are observing something going on with a resident, they communicate by way of that electronic record, and Kim gets that, the medical center docs get that, and so that, again, that communication is seamless. And when Kim has seen somebody in the assisted living setting and that person goes to a doctor's appointment, their doctor's going to be right in the middle of that loop with what's gone on and what's been done on our end, as well as what they're looking at from a presenting problem in the clinic.
Right.
And again, seamless, comprehensive, so no one left out of the loop.
To have Kim in our building working with our staff and our residents, I can't be more thrilled. I just think she makes such a well-rounded addition to our team. So welcome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being with us, and blessings.
Linda Rakos is a dietitian and is our Assistant Director of Hospitality Services. She had some ideas to share about grocery shopping.
Hello everyone, my name is Leslie Brand and I'm here with Linda Rakos, and she is the Assistant Director of Hospitality Services, and we are here to introduce a new Health Connections trip. It's called Smart Shopping at Publix, and it's going to be a great trip to learn lots of new things that you don't normally know when you go shopping at Publix. And Linda, can you tell us a little bit about what you do here at Shell Point?
Well, Leslie, thanks for asking me to do this, because I think it's going to be very educational but a lot of fun too. I'm the Assistant Director for Hospitality Services, and the healthcare food service departments report to me, but I do a lot of other things like Health Connection classes and articles for LifeQuest, and a lot of really exciting and fun things like that.
What is the tour going to consist of at Publix?
Well, a lot of really educational but fun things, and I do want to point out to our viewers that the purpose of this is certainly not to promote Publix, right. Because there are many grocery stores, but that happens to be where I shop, and one of the things that I'm going to tell people about in this class is that you really need to be familiar about where you shop. So I can just give you some of the little tips about little insight as to what we're going to be doing. And the first thing I want to tell you is that I'm here with my grocery list in hand, because that certainly makes shopping a whole lot easier. And I guarantee you that all of our Shell Point master chefs at home in their own kitchens still shop, and makes it easier to have a list. And I have my coupons, and I've researched my ads for sale items, and then I have checked through my pantry so I know what I need. So when I get there, you and I and our residents are going to know what to look for when we go up and down those exciting supermarket aisles.
Well, that sounds great, because I know that when I go into Publix without a shopping list, I'm kind of going everywhere in each direction, so it really helps to have that too. Yeah. And one thing I know when I shop at Publix, are we going to learn the difference between the frozen and the canned and the fresh, and
where to find that.
That's a very good point. We're going to talk about, number one, how to read a nutrition label. So that's a very important part of shopping for good nutrition, because a lot of our folks may have life quest goals to eat a more nutritious diet, and this is really going to be helpful to them. So we're going to do things like go into the produce section and look at different vegetables and fruits that are in season, and talk about what's more healthier choice and what makes more sense for your budget. And then when we get into the grains area, people who've been to our Amazing Grains class might want to see a little bit more about the labels, as I was pointing out to them. So we're going to talk about how to read the labels and make good choices for grain items as well.
Great. Well, that sounds awesome. And another thing, too, I know that when coming up with these different recipes and learning how to eat healthy and finding these different ingredients, too, it's kind of difficult because you're not sure which aisle it might be down. So this will be also helpful, right, when trying to find specific different spices or items and going through each.
Absolutely. And we'll even talk about some herbs and spices and point out the fresh ones that they have for sale in most supermarkets nowadays, and just get their green thumbs going and grow their own.
Well, that sounds great. It sounds like it's going to be a great tour, and we're going to learn a lot. I know that this will be very helpful because a lot of times when you go to Publix and even any other grocery store too, it's easier to know how to read a label and all those different ingredients and what sugars you're supposed to have and calories and fats, and so it seems it'll be very educational.
Yes, we're going to try to make it educational but fun.
There you go. And well, everyone will learn something new too.
I hope so. That's my goal.
Well, this sounds like a great Health Connections trip that I'm sure all of you will want to come to. If you need to sign up at either service desk, and this will be on Thursday, July 24th. It will start pickups at 8:30 on the island, 8:40 at the Woodlands, and 8:50 at Eagles Preserve, and the cost will be $7. So make sure you sign up today. And we have Linda Rakos here, and I'm Leslie Brand, and we hope you have a happy and healthy day.
The Springs' new dining room expansion has been completed. Our camera was there to capture the grand opening of this great new facility.
Here's final one.
Amount of burden as you have eaten in very small quarters with a lot of different people. You got to know your neighbors probably a little bit more than you really wanted to, and we're very grateful that you as Springs residents have been so supportive. There are a couple of thank yous though that I would like to share with you and have you help me thank them. First and foremost, help me thank the Springs staff. And Wright Construction Group is headed by Fred Edmond. Come on forward, Fred. Mark Vallon. And Jeff Sinatra.
And Jeff, you probably all recognize Jeff, don't you? Yeah. He cleans up pretty good, doesn't he? And Dave is the architect that did the wonderful job of making sure that when you look at our existing dining room and you look at the new part of the dining room, you don't see a difference. So we give that kudos to Dave for all that he's done. The project development group here at Shell Point works between the architectural and the construction group and us here in the building. And they're headed by somebody that's pretty special to me, and that's Bob Southern, my husband. He has tolerated more conversations at dinner about the dining room at the Springs than any husband should have to. Bob is supported by two very special women, Julie Nipper and Carolyn Darling. When I'm not there to nag him, these two ladies are there to nag him and keep him on track. So thank you, ladies.
Well, thank you, Rita. I want to just share with you that there is no group of residents at Shell Point that deserve a nice dining room as quickly as we can get into it as you do. You have put up with a great meal for a long period of time, and I have to tell you, it's been made possible because you have people like Rita who advocate hard for it, and you've got some wonderful staff that really dedicate themselves to doing all they can to make this the best place it can be. It's going to be a whole lot easier now for them to serve you, and we just thank you so much for your tolerance, your patience in getting to this place. I commend you for it. I hope that you will enjoy it. In fact, I know you will, so I'm going to step out of the way here pretty quick before I get trampled. But we do want to just say thank you to you, especially as our residents, and especially to our staff as well, who have put up with a great deal of difficulty as we've gotten to this completion point. The experts are all behind us here. They've done a great job, as we always try to do at Shell Point, and we hope that you will enjoy it, not today, but always as you enjoy this dining room. So thank you again, and God bless you as you enjoy every aspect of what we got going on here. Thank you so much.
Father, we come today with hearts of gratitude and thankfulness. We are thankful for this wonderful place, the Springs at Shell Point, where we live. We are grateful for the staff that works so hard to take good care of us. And we are very thankful for this great addition to the dining room. We trust that this will become a place where we not only continue to receive great meals, but a place where friendships are strengthened and new friendships developed. Thank you for the many ways that you care for us and provide what we need. Amen.
Amen. Join me in raising your glass, a moment of thanks and very full heart with gratitude. We cheered you as Shell Point residents here at the Springs. We thank the staff for all that they've done, and we thank the group that made this happen. So cheers to all. Cheers. The staff are standing by, ready to serve you your first meal in the new dining room. You've been waiting for this for a long time. It's nice to have you here, Lorraine. I know you're here. I know you're here just on a short trip.
The ribbon cutting here at the Springs has been such a wonderful celebration. It has brought residents and staff, the construction team, everyone together to really celebrate the opening, the grand opening of our new Springs dining room. This dining room is in addition to the small space that we kind of outgrew, and the Springs residents have really been very considerate and supportive as we've processed through the last 5.5 months of construction to the finale of today, and dining for the first time this evening in their brand new dining room. So we're grateful for the gifts that God has given us, and it's with a full heart that we have our first meal here at the Springs. So come and join us.
Well, that's about it for this week. We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in again next week for more news and stories from around your community. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for the weekend of July 18, 19, and 20. I'm Dan Philgreen, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.